Hello, my friends. As any of us who would have worked in a system development project, we would have realized that it's very important for us to document the business rules because any system that we are building helps us in implementing the business rules. And business rules are essential to make sure that our employees follow the right practices when they do any activity. So, how do you do that? Let me welcome you to the next episode on our BA Techniques Worked Out Examples. My name is Alan Mishra. I work as a principal trainer and consultant at Adaptive US. And today I'm going to talk to you about this technique called business rules management. We are going to discuss a very important technique which is called business rules analysis. As you may be aware, any application that we develop, maintain, improve has plenty of business rules embedded into them. Why business rules exist? Business rules essentially allow business to safeguard itself from undue risks. So for example, if you do not restrict on the credit period, it's possible that a client or a customer would take service and not pay for a very long time. Or if you get into a project without proper evaluation, it is possible that you run into massive losses. That's why organizations create rules, and these rules are embedded into the applications that we develop. And hence, for a BA, business rules are a critical component of its elicitation activity. So what is business rules analysis? As we already know, business policies and rules guide the day-to-day operation of the business. The difference between the policy and rules is something like this. Policies are generally intent statements, so they may not have any operational guidelines, whereas rules will give you an operational guideline. So for example, a policy can be that a company will be customer centric. But how do you make sure that a company is customer centric? A rule like a customer's request must be responded within one business day means that if you want to be a customer centric organization, you must respond to your customers in a timely manner. And that's how you make yourself a customer centric organization. It may be explicit or tacit. It serves as a criterion for guiding behavior, shaping judgments, or making decisions. And of course, any rules should have a proper glossary so that people are clear when we use a term, what do we mean? So what are some of the common characteristics of business rules? They should be stated in appropriate terminology. That means people understand the terminology that you are using. They should be documented independently from enforcement. So that means a rule enforcement is different from a rule definition. It should be stated at an atomic level and in declarative format. So that means you can't break down a rule further. It should be monitored and adapted over time because understand businesses change and rules must change. Then there is a concept called a definitional rule, which essentially represents the organizational knowledge, and it prescribes how information may be derived, inferred, or calculated. Like say for example, we can have a formula for gross margin, which is revenue minus variable cost. That's the formula that we use to calculate gross margin, and hence it's a definitional rule. It can be misapplied because sometimes, suppose we are trying to categorize a customer into premium versus non-premium. So somebody can always make a mistake saying a non-premium customer has been defined as premium, or a premium customer has been defined as non-premium. Then there is something called behavioral rules, which essentially guides the actions of people within the organization. it can be violated because people may not follow the rule that we define. Coming to the strengths of business rules analysis, if you have an enterprise-wide engine, rules engine, that can assist in quick implementation and changes in business rules. A centralized repository enables reuse of business rules across the organization. Remember, rules are not specific to a product or to a project. It is typically for the organization. So any project that we do, we should be able to reuse the rules that has already been developed. And it allows making changes to policy without altering processes. Limitations: it can be quite lengthy, it can contradict one another and produce unanticipated results when combined. That's why rules analysis is a bit of a difficult thing to do. A poorly defined and poorly organized vocabulary can result in inaccurate or contradictory business rules. That's what I just said. So before we move to the business rules, let's watch our context video, which is about the system called GRC Perfect. GRC Perfect was developed for a very large IT services firm. It had close to 17,000 employees across multiple geographies: North America, Asia, Europe, Australia. And the organization had grown pretty rapidly. From an employee size of about 500, they have grown to 15,000 plus in just about 10 years' time. With growth comes its own challenges. Number of projects has grown, but project monitoring has become a lot more difficult. And since the organization is operating in multiple geographies, it also needs to take care of various compliance requirements that come from different geographies and different clients as well, and internal compliance needs as well. So given all this fact, the organization decided to have a comprehensive GRC system, which would be governance, risk, and compliance management system. This system would not only be monitoring projects, it would also be monitoring programs, accounts, and business unit performance. It will track project schedule, defect, risk, issues, billing, those kind of aspects. It will also ensure compliance to various regulatory and customer and internal requirements for various projects. That's the project that we are trying to build, which will be deployed across the world. And it will be catering to many types of project categories like software development, software maintenance, testing, package implementation, and many other such types of projects. This is the project context based on which we will be discussing all our techniques. Now that we have watched the video context, then let's take a look at a simple business rules table which we have created. And here we have just provided three attributes: a rule ID, that's a number identifying the rule, a rule description, and a rule source. You may add other attributes if you feel they are necessary for you to manage the rules better. So if you look at the rule description, the first rule says planned effort is at least 1 hour. And this requirement rule has come from the PMO function, which is the project management office. So the PMO has decided that nobody can plan an activity which is less than 1 hour because it is a very tiny activity. Then it also says planned efforts shall be editable till baseline. That means till you finalize the schedule, you have the freedom to change it. Parent task cannot be closed in any of the child tasks are open. Very natural, because a parent can be closed only if all the child tasks are closed. Schedule resources child task date cannot be less than parent start date. Obviously, a child activity cannot start before a parent activity. It has to start on the same day or after that. Schedule resources child task end date cannot be more than parent end date. Obviously, a child cannot cross the parent boundary. Similarly, you can write other rules, and these rules are very, very helpful for any developer to make sure that such rules are implemented when they are developing the solution. Thank you for watching this particular video. I am hoping that you guys are learning a lot of business analysis techniques, their theory, their practical use, using this very innovative approach where we are taking you through an actual project that we did for a client, and that is how we developed all these artifacts for that particular project. You will find these artifacts in our Inner Circle product.